AI is pretty much everywhere you look these days. It's in our phones, our cars, our homes, and it holds this incredible, almost unbelievable promise to solve some of the world's biggest challenges. But here's the catch. It's a total double-edged sword. It's a constant balancing act between mind-blowing innovation and our own ethical integrity.
I mean, think about your own life. Have you ever done a search and the results just felt off? A little biased, maybe. Or what about seeing an online ad that was so creepily specific you wondered if your phone was reading your mind? Yeah, that feeling? That's the heart of the dilemma we're digging into. AI can be an amazing assistant, but it can also be a hidden threat. So how do we get all the good stuff without the bad?
Okay, so before we dive into all the ways this can go wrong, let's talk about the goal. What's the ideal we're even shooting for here? Let's look at the ethical blueprint for AI.
So what are AI ethics, really? Well, at its core, it's a set of moral principles. Basically, a rule book to make sure these incredibly powerful tools are used responsibly. And this is so important. This isn't just some nice to have, you know? It's the absolute foundation for building trust. Because let's be real, if we don't trust it, we're not going to use it.
And who gets to write this rulebook? Well, it's not just a bunch of coders in a dark room. Far from it. Creating these ethical guidelines is this massive global team effort. You've got governments, academics, nonprofits, and yeah, the companies building the tech, all trying to figure this out together.
So what are these rules of the road they're coming up with? Let's break it down. You've got fairness, which is all about making sure we don't just teach AI our old prejudices. Then there's transparency. This one's huge. A doctor needs to know why an AI suggested a certain treatment, right? Accountability means we can't just throw up our hands and blame the algorithm when something goes wrong. And maybe the most important one, human oversight. This just means we, people, always stay in the driver's seat.
Okay, so that's the dream. That's the ideal. But what happens when we wake up? In the real world, things can, and absolutely do, go wrong. This is what it looks like when AI fails.
One of the biggest problems we see, and it's a huge one, is something called algorithmic bias. It's kind of like garbage in, garbage out, but on steroids. If you train an AI on data that's full of historical human biases, well, the AI doesn't just learn those biases, it can actually amplify them, making existing inequalities even worse.
And this is not a drill. It actually happened. Amazon built an AI to help screen job applicants. The problem? It learned from 10 years' worth of resumes from a tech industry that was, you guessed it, dominated by men. The result was wild. The AI literally taught itself that male candidates were better and started automatically downgrading any resume that even mentioned the word women's.
All right, next up is a problem that genuinely keeps experts up at night. It's called the black box problem. Picture a magician's box. You can see what goes in, and you can see what comes out. But what happens inside? That's a complete mystery. That's what some of these AI models are like.
Now really let that sink in. If the very people who built the AI can't tell you why it made a specific choice, how can we possibly trust it with life or death decisions in medicine or with someone's freedom in the justice system? It completely shatters that idea of transparency we just talked about.
And believe me, the list goes on. We're talking about huge questions, like what happens when facial recognition is used to watch entire populations, or when AI image generators are trained on the work of countless artists without their permission or giving them any credit. And then there's the big one, the very real threat that automation could eliminate millions of jobs. The scope of these dilemmas is just enormous.
So, with all these pretty scary risks on the table, what do we do about it? Well, right now, we're in the middle of a global race to figure that exact question out. And that brings us to the final act of our story, this worldwide debate over how we're going to manage AI's future.
Right now, we're seeing two main playbooks emerge. Over in the European Union, they're taking a very proactive safety-first approach. They're putting comprehensive rules in place before things can go wrong. Meanwhile, in the United States, the focus tends to be more on letting innovation flourish first, with a more flexible, evolving strategy. And look, neither way is necessarily right or wrong, they just reflect very different priorities.
And there's a really powerful argument for that innovation-first approach. The big worry is that if you put too many rules, too much red tape in place too early, you could slow down progress. You could stifle the very innovation you need and end up ceding leadership in this incredibly important technology to other countries with fewer restrictions. It is a really, really tough balance to get right.
And all of this brings us to what might be the most important point of all. The future of AI isn't some runaway train that's just going to happen to us. It is something we are actively building right now.
with every single choice we make.
The opportunity in front of us is just mind-blowing. AI could seriously help us tackle massive problems like climate change or curing diseases. But the challenge is finding that perfect balance. We need to build guardrails to keep society safe from the risks, but we can't make those guardrails so high that they completely smother the engine of innovation that's driving all that potential progress.
And that leaves us with the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? How do we protect society without killing progress? There is no easy answer here. But trying to solve that puzzle is maybe the most important task we face as we steer AI into the future.